how do I plan for a situation where I don't know what the context will be until it happens, but we would still call it contextual. Like, we can kind of plan for, like, the lowest common denominator, what's most likely, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's what we mean when we say contextualization.
Yeah, and then also I think part of it is understanding that your end state is always going to change based on the context.
Yeah.
But how we get to the end state usually is going to be the same way. I mean, you know, it might be in degree or something, but like if we're, you know, if I'm assaulted by somebody, I react a certain way. I do something X, Y, and Z, and I get to a point where I'm controlling you. I'm in a dominant position where I have a ton of options and you have very little. Then I can decide, well, what is the right answer to this?
Yes.
Should I just hold you there for the cops to come?
Yeah.
Should I beat the hell out of you?
Yeah.
You know, should I stab you in the face? What is the best answer? But how I'm getting there, because see, that's where I think a lot of this falls apart, is people think that because there are different contexts, that everything is different, but it's not. It's really not. It's all I have to do if Uncle Steve at the wedding is getting drunk. It's going to be different in the sense of level of force and where you end up.
Right.
But your physical techniques are generally going to be fairly close to similar stuff.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that's where we can simplify what we're trying to do instead of trying to come up with, oh, we're this, you know, like you said, how do you know what the context is? Well, it's really hard because there's a bunch. I mean, we can make it, you know, we can kind of think of stuff that's really the most likely, and then we have the things that maybe the second tier most likely type stuff or whatever. But in general, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
But my basic fundamental skill set for all those answers are going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes training slightly easier. You know, because we don't quite have to know as much stuff as we may think we do. You know, when we first look at this vast, you know, chaotic ball.
Like when I want to win in the clinch or win on the ground, the process of me getting from one position to the other is going to be the same, but what I do when I get there is going to be different.
Right. You know, and maybe when you know it's a one-on-one sport thing, you can afford to be less situationally aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing the street, you better send out the radar pings every now and then.
Yeah.
To make sure you're not hyper-focused on the guy. But the physical process, the things you're physically doing are still, for the most part, essentially the same. That underhook, that near side underhook with a far wrist tie control is the same when you are practicing MMA. And you've got this guy up against the cage and you're looking to knock him out.
Yeah.
Is the same as when you're like, okay, I've got him here, but I'm looking to get him in a position where I can get my gun out and do a mag dump into his fucking skull.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Right? But it's still, like you said, it's still exactly the same thing.